Hello, I'm DRoger, General Counsel for the Las Vegas Police Protective Association. In this series, we're addressing the Community Caretaking Doctrine. In the last video, we talked about Metro's policy and their explanation of the Community Caretaking Doctrine. This video will address vehicle stops that are based not on reasonable suspicion, but instead based upon the emergency doctrine, the Community Caretaking Doctrine. So the Nevada case is State versus Rincon, R-I-N-C-O-N. In that particular case, a highway patrol trooper was up in northern Nevada and he observed a vehicle driving very slowly during the early morning hours. The trooper stopped the vehicle and he thought that the driver may be intoxicated. When he went up to the vehicle, he found that the driver was in fact intoxicated and arrested the individual for DUI after his investigation. On appeal, the Nevada Supreme Court addressed the legitimacy of the stop. And the Nevada Supreme Court held that slow driving in and of itself is not indicia of drunk driving, and so it does not constitute reasonable suspicion to stop a vehicle. However, it addressed the Community Caretaking Doctrine. And the Nevada Supreme Court said that the doctrine is really a limited one and is based upon whether an officer has objectively reasonable belief that a person is in danger and needs emergency assistance. And so in that particular case, the trooper also testified that he thought that the person may have a medical emergency because the person was driving so slowly. And so the Nevada Supreme Court upheld the conviction, stating that the officer had an objectively reasonable belief that the person needed emergency assistance. And so the emergency or the Community Caretaking Doctrine is limited to emergency situations. And in that particular case, even though the trooper did not have reasonable suspicion to stop the vehicle, he did have an objectively reasonable belief that the individual might be in need of emergency assistance. And so in applying that Community Caretaking Doctrine, the Nevada Supreme Court emphasized that it is limited to emergency situations. And the Nevada Supreme Court also said that based upon the Fourth Amendment analysis, which is whether an officer's stop or search is objectively reasonable. That's the Fourth Amendment analysis. An officer's subjective intent is irrelevant to the analysis because an officer's subjective intent is not based upon what is objectively reasonable. So, the point of this video is to explain to you that with respect to the Community Caretaking Doctrine and vehicle stops, it is limited to situations where an officer has an objectively reasonable belief that the person is in need of emergency assistance because of health reasons. I hope this is starting to make a little bit more sense to you as we're talking about the Community Caretaking Doctrine, and I look forward to addressing warrantless searches and the Community Caretaking Doctrine in the next segment. Thank you.
111, 110.